Hey everyone, Nathan with Quinlan's Construction Services here for you. And if you've been anything like me driving around the last week looking at all that fresh snow that we had on the ground, it's melting now, but there's still some hanging on. You like how bright and white everything looks, and as you're driving around and you're looking at all the snow on the ground, you notice that houses probably look one of two ways. First option could be this house right here, and you have you look up at the roof and you can see the whole roof is just covered all the way with snow. Nice even coverage of snow on there. And then you have the other house where you drive by and you look and there might just be a little bit of snow kind of on the bottom, a little bit of snow over here, a little bit of snow over here. And you can see basically where all the framing is for the house, that there's snow kind of just staying right on there. And you may wonder what's going on there, why one house may have all the snow and the other house really doesn't have much of anything. And the reason for that is usually pretty simple. It's most commonly it's heat loss. And what do we mean by heat loss? Heat is somehow escaping out of your house and going up above into your attic or storage that you may have up top there, and it's kind of getting trapped up there. It's not able to get out of the house fast enough, and it's just sitting there and it's kind of melting the snow slowly off of your roof. Now, the reason that you might see a little bit more snow kind of over here and then coming across the bottom is that's typically most commonly where your overhangs are. So there's actually cold air that's coming up right underneath here across the front, and then cold air coming up on here. So this part isn't actually warming up the way the rest of the house is. Most commonly you find heat loss is there's a couple common culprits, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And the first one is usually around light fixtures. Anything that you have that's sitting in the ceiling when the house could have been built, or if there is a recent or any type of remodel on there, the insulation above it might have got moved around and might not have got packed back down on there. So when you're putting in a light fixture, when you're doing a remodel and you're putting in a light fixture, you usually have a plastic box, and then the sheetrock is cut around that box. Now with that, you may have just a little bit of a gap going around that light fixture, and the insulation might not get tucked back over that and really kind of seal things up. So you're getting some heat that's kind of going up around the edge of the light fixture, real slow, kind of creeping in there, and again, getting up into your attic here. That's one method or one cause of it. Another one is if you have any access to your attic. Usually it's either a hatch that's in a closet or a set of pull-down stairs that might be in a hallway most commonly. And those two things right there, those are usually what we see as being the biggest culprit of heat getting out of the house and getting trapped up in the attic or in the roof structure. And the reason for that is that when those are built, they're just kind of built real quick, real easy. And a lot of times people may try to throw some insulation over there. Not if you have the stairs. You can't really throw insulation over those stairs. It'd fall down on you every time you pull the stairs down and head up into the attic. So usually what we do with a lot of these cases is we will actually go to our local hardware store. We will pick up a couple pieces of rigid foam board insulation. Most commonly you see it in either blue or a green. You can get it in different thicknesses. I like to go with the 2-inch thick foam board, and we go through and we just kind of build a box that sits over top of the stairs or that attic access hatch that you may have. And we just we cut some pieces out, we take our measurements, cut some pieces out, we'll tape them together, and then we'll usually run kind of just a bead of silicone caulk around it to seal everything out. And as we're climbing out of the attic, we'll drop that box right down over top of either the attic stairs or also the attic access hatch. The other thing that you have, like we talked about with light fixtures, it's hard to kind of really seal around them. You don't want to get any kind of silicone caulk or even any kind of spray foam and try to get in there. You end up creating a little bit more of a mess than what you're looking for. Most commonly what we end up doing, and we see this a lot in a lot of the older houses, is that the insurance requirements by code are or were much less than what they are right now. So if you look at your house, if your house was built back, let's say 80s, 70s, 60s, even back into the 50s, a lot of times all you really needed for insulation in your attic was just something that kind of went to the top of the framing for your ceiling. So that might be some 6-inch insulation, or maybe even some 8-inch insulation. Most commonly, that's usually going to be an R21 or an R28, I think, is the next one up after that. So if you have such a minimal amount of insulation up there, and even if you have some stuff over top of the light fixtures, what we usually like to do is we'll get a couple bags of the fiberglass batt insulation. Let's see, I think I got some right here. There we go. So we go grab some of this good pink stuff from our local hardware store. And you can get it in different widths and different thicknesses. Most commonly on an older home, you're going to look for something that's going to be, it'll say on the package that it's for 16-inch on center, or that the width of the fiberglass is going to be 14.5 inches. Also, you have newer framing is generally done, if it's a truss roof, is a lot of times done with 24 inches on center. And you can grab those from the store. What we like to do is, let's just say that we'll take a look at this roof right here, is that your framing is running, it's going to be running this way, and let's say the insulation runs in between there. Now again, it would actually be on your ceiling, most likely around through here. I'm just using this as this is already drawn out. So what we would do is we would take the fiberglass insulation, we'd take the bundles up into the attic, and then we just basically just kind of lay them down going the opposite way across everything. And what that's going to do is, if we keep trying to stack it on top of itself, it's not going to do much to seal the air gaps that are going to be kind of coming up around there. So what we get when we kind of crisscross is that if we have our first piece kind of laying flat like this, any air that might be kind of coming up here, we're not going to be able to stop that and trap that if we just put another piece right over top of it. But if we take a piece, if we have our first piece and our first piece goes right here, we're going to take our second piece and lap it crossways over there. Now it's going to block or slow down the air that's going to be coming up there. A lot of times people think that, you know, this is kind of a really messy job. It's a real pain in the butt to do, and it can be. I mean, it mostly depends on what you have for access getting into your attic, and how it is to try to bring the bags of insulation up in there. This is a great thing that most homeowners can do themselves. For obviously, it's, I don't want to say little to no money, but it's very affordable to get done. What you want to make sure that you do is that when you go up into your attic and you have this stuff, you want to make sure that you're wearing some clothes that you don't care if they obviously get dirty or anything like that. You definitely want to be wearing a pair of gloves. I like just wearing kind of like a thin pair of latex gloves. You definitely want to make sure that you have safety glasses on. Generally the ones that kind of fit fairly tight to your face are great, and you also want to make sure you have a face mask on. An N95 is going to be good. I think we can find them back on the shelves now. But that's going to stop you from breathing in all that dust. So once you get up there, you have good light, you really just either take the pieces out, they either come out in full pieces, or you have a roll, and you can just roll it and go across the opposite way, perpendicular to the original insulation. You can go around and make sure you get everything covered up. Also, if you take a look at building a box for either attic access or your stairs, that's going to be another great help. And then lastly, if it's a little pain sometimes, depending on how steep your roof is, but you want to try to get as far out to the edge of your house to your overhang as you can, and try to get some insulation packed in there pretty nicely. The reason for that is, what I liked about this drawing here is that we have our windows here. And generally windows, they don't always have a lot of insulation over top of them. So your window isn't as an insulated structure, or as insulated as what your wall structure is. So some heat can pass through there, and then it'll just go right up and go right back into your attic, usually if you have a perforated soffit in there. So what we try to do is, over that overhang, you really try to bring the insulation out as far as you can out there. That's going to help slow down any heat that's going to be getting lost and coming up and getting trapped back into the attic. So with those things, you know, it's going to help you in a couple different formats. First, it's going to really help cut down on your utility costs for your heating and also your air conditioning. Right now, your furnace could be running a lot, and it's going to cost you more money on through your utility provider, whether it's electric or whether it's gas, propane, oil, whatever the case may be. But you are going to be losing a lot of heat. Your furnace is going to be running more. It's going to wear out your furnace. It's going to wear out the components in your furnace a lot faster. So putting the insulation in helps slow that down. Also, people don't always think about it, but come summertime, when your central air or your air conditioning is running, or even just the regular temperature of your house, the more insulation you have in your walls and in your attic, the more it's going to help keep the temperature consistent. You're going to minimize heat loss or air loss in general. That's going to cause your central air conditioning unit or your window units to be running a lot more often and cause them to wear out prematurely as well. I know I kind of went through a lot of stuff through here, but please feel free to post any kind of comments, or obviously shoot us an email if you like any more explanation about what it is that we have going on between these two houses and what we might be able to do to help you with your house. Hope you guys have a great day.